All right, I think that we are live.
Awesome.
Welcome to our next family chat. We are excited to kick off the 2020-2021 academic year. My name is Carrie West, and I am the coordinator in transition programs, and I work directly with our transfer students and our families. So we are excited that you're joining us here today. Our guest is Krista Faison, who is an assistant director of residence life in housing and residence life here at UNCW. And so today we are just going to talk about the drop-off, move-in process for new students, all the good things of what they should pack, and any questions that y'all have about the move-in process. So we have some planned questions to get us started, but you can put your questions in the chat on Facebook if you have any that you are still wondering about. We have staff that are standing by to answer those questions for you in the comments, or they might send us a question for Krista to answer live. That sound good? So let's see. So the first question, Krista, is I know there are some changes to drop off and move in for this year, but let's start with the very basics because we've gotten some questions this week during orientation, and next week we have orientation. Where can parents and families find a packing list? What's on that list? What are like the do's and don'ts?
Yeah, so we have a packing list on our website. If you want to go to UNCW's Housing and Residence Life website, we have a full list of suggestions to pack, but also things not to pack. To review some of the things that your student may need, think about bedding. Our rooms are equipped with a extra long twin size bed that is an 80-inch mattress. So if you go to Bed Bath & Beyond, Target, Walmart, even Amazon, they're always prepared for the college move-in season. So if you can find an extra long bed setting, that is something I would bring. Also think about storage. A lot of students like to pack a lockbox to keep under their bed, storage containers to organize their toiletries. Go online and look at your community and see what your bedroom and bathroom setup is so you can prepare on what you need to pack, such as a shower caddy. Also pay attention, some of our bedrooms have closets and some of our bedrooms have wardrobes. So if you have a closet, you may want to bring a curtain for that. If you have a wardrobe, it'll have doors on it, so you won't have to worry about that. Other things that you may want to work with your roommate on bringing are a mini fridge to share between the two of you, a microwave. Some students like to share a coffee maker. You could even think about bringing a fan for your bedroom. So those are things that I would talk to your roommate about. Things that you shouldn't pack are anything that has a hot plate on it. That could be, candle warmers. If it's a hot plate, instead of using a light bulb to light your wax, that's not allowed. Candles are not allowed. Pets are not allowed. So please don't bring pets. Our rooms are just way too small to even be fair to have pets in the bedroom. So please don't bring pets. And when you're bringing stuff to plug your technology in, please don't bring extension cords because those are not safe. They're a fire hazard. So those are just some things to think about on what not to pack.
Yes. I've been all over y'all's website trying to help answer some of those questions we've been getting
Yeah.
this week. So the page with the residence halls listed is really helpful because it has dimensions for things like windows
Yes.
or the furniture in the room. So definitely go check out the housing website and click on your student's residence hall to find that info for sure. And there's updated pictures of the new halls that are coming online. So definitely go look at those too.
Yeah, and our residence coordinators are also doing building tours. So if you pay attention to our Facebook page and our website, we recognize that students are just not able to be on campus and be in the space that they're about to call home. So if you pay attention and wait for your community to release, our RCs have been working hard on doing building tours to get you in the building and let you see them. And they're also doing podcasts in addition to this family chat to help answer questions.
Awesome. So now that we've talked about what to pack, let's talk about the day that students are coming. So I know that they've received very detailed emails about the drop-in and the move-in, and it sounds like a lot of students have already signed up for a time slot for that.
Yeah.
So can you talk about what, first, what drop-off will look like? If they sign up for that drop-off period, what drop-off will look like?
Yeah, so if you've signed up for what we're calling phase one, you have signed up for a time to come move into your room, decorate, unpack, get everything ready, but then leave and return to campus at a later date. That drop-off process is really simple. You're going to go online, download your navigation map to make sure that you know where you're going on campus. Bring that navigation map with you, and you'll have a placard as well in your envelope that was mailed home. Drive to the front of your residence hall. You, as the student, will need to get out of your car with an ID. We recognize you won't have your one card yet because you'll get that in your orientation packet. But if you could bring any ID to let us know who you are, you can go inside. Our desk receptionist will have you complete a couple forms and you can grab your key. Then if you will unload all of your belongings and have your car parked, if you brought 1 to 2 support people, they can go ahead and park your car in the parking lot. And then you can move all your belongings up into your room. The day that you sign to drop your stuff off, you can be in the building up until 8 p.m. At 8 p.m., the doors will lock and we're going to be verifying that they are vacant. So you have the full day to unpack if you need to run any errands to the stores. Target, Bed Bath & Beyond, Walmart, they are all very close to campus. So if you need any last minute items, you can go grab them and bring them to your room. At 8 p.m. when we lock down the doors, we're going to expect that you've exited the building with your support persons and that you head back home, and then you'll return at a later date.
Awesome. Yes. And if you're paying attention to UNCW social media, you've probably seen the Best for the Nest website. We really encourage families and students to already be looking at that website and what campus procedures and policies will be for coming back to campus. So Krista, when they come for drop off, like wearing masks in the buildings, anything like that?
Yeah. Yeah. So we are working really hard to keep you safe, which is why we have changed our move-in process this year, and we've implemented these 3 phases. So while you're in the buildings, we are asking that you wear your masks in the lobby spaces when you're navigating our corridors. We also ask that you pay attention to our stairwell directions. We have designated certain stairwells to be entrance and exit only stairwells unless there is an emergency. So as you're moving belongings in, please pay attention to those directional signs. There's no way that we could maintain 6 feet of distance by multiple people coming up and down. So we've implemented that. We also have hand sanitizer on every floor and throughout the building. So we also expect that you use that hand sanitizer and make sure that you're paying attention to social distancing guidelines. We will also have moving bins available for you to place your belongings in and use our elevators if you need to get your belongings up past the first floor. While you're using the elevator, we're also asking that you only stay on the elevator with your family unit. So if there are multiple families or multiple groups trying to use that elevator, we're asking that you take turns and that you don't jump on with another family unit. That way we can continue to minimize the risk of spread.
Yes. All of that is super helpful. Thank you. So that's kind of phase 1. Is there anything else you want to add for phase 1?
No.
Okay, so phase 2, can you talk about what that looks like for students who are moving in, and then those students who dropped off and are can move back in on a different date as well?
Yeah, so phase 2 is our move-in process, and it is very similar to our drop-off process. I think the biggest difference is you're not leaving. So when you arrive to campus, we'll expect you to do some of that work before you get here. Download your navigation map off our website. If you need to print it, go ahead and print it. Bring your paperwork that was mailed home to you from housing. Pull up to the front of the building, same process. Go inside, retrieve your key. As soon as your belongings are out of your vehicle, have a person stay in the driver's seat to go ahead and park it so we can keep traffic flowing. Please continue to follow our social distancing guidelines. We have made sure that we've structured our signups in a way that we limit the number of people coming in the building at a time. So again, don't share the elevators with other family units. Please pay attention to directional signs on stairways. Wear your masks in the lobbies and the corridors. The biggest difference here is that you stay. So we're not expecting you to leave by 8 p.m. Once you move in, you've moved in and you don't have to leave.
Awesome. Can you just clarify for us, I know we've got some questions this week, like if parents or families help their students move them in on their move-in date, will they then be allowed back in the building the next day to help them do anything?
I think as long as you are still in the process of moving in, we want to allow our students to have that 1 to 2 support persons available. What we're asking though is that family, friends, guardians not hang out. We really are trying to create the residence halls to be a safe home where we minimize the amount of traffic in and out of the building. So unless it's necessary, unless you are still actively moving belongings in, I would ask that you not, and that you visit your student elsewhere. We're also trying to encourage students to only bring 1 carload of belongings. So really, you should be able to get that in a couple of hours, if not an hour. With COVID-19, there could be a chance that we have to ask students to leave. But additionally, being a coastal university, every year we deal with hurricane season and tropical storms. So we would hate for students to have to leave the university at any point for a reason and not be able to get all of their belongings home because it can't fit in their car.
Yes. So we got a question in the comments related to helpers. So they're asking, will student helpers be available to help unload cars during those traditional or those move-in phase 2 days?
Yeah, this year, unfortunately, we don't have move-in helpers and move-in volunteers. There's just no way that we could keep everything sanitary, keep people at a social distance, and have move-in volunteers. So that's why we're asking students bring 1 to 2 support persons that are able to help you bring your belongings in, or just want to be there to see this exciting moment for you. Because unfortunately, outside of our desk staff that will be there to help you complete paperwork, we won't have move-in volunteers this year.
Yeah, and thanks for answering that previous question. It's just, I think one thing for our families to keep in mind is that y'all are trying to limit the total number of people that are in around the building more than the normal students that are going to be in the building, in the occupancy. So when you're moving your student in, try to get them settled when you're there, and you can run off, like Chris said, to Target and come back, but try to limit coming the following days, because then there's just more people in the building. We're trying to keep
Absolutely.
that down.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that. So for those students who did drop off, are there different days that they can come back and move in?
So once you have signed up on our website, we're asking you to adhere to that sign up time. If you have to change it, you can. But once our phase 3 is opened up for you to return to the building and move in, whatever you have signed up for, you can return, move in, and get ready for our move-in week.
Awesome. So you called that phase 3, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
So
Yep.
phase 1 are students who are just dropping off and leaving. Phase 2 are students who are moving in and they can stay at that date. And then phase 3 are those students who previously dropped off and they're coming back and can stay.
Yeah, so realistically, our phase 1 students and phase 3 students should be the same. They should be dropping off and then returning. And our hope is that our phase 1 students are students that live closer to the university, so that we can really reserve space for our phase 2 students to move in that are out of state and may have to drive 10, 15 hours to get here. So we're really hoping that our students that are closer will be able to utilize that phase 1 and phase 3 process, so we can reserve phase 2 for a lot of our students who are coming from out of state or a far distance.
Awesome. And I think I heard during y'all's presentations this week at orientations that I think over 80% of students have signed up. And so if you're a part of those 20%, please go and sign up.
Yeah, pick a time, please. We're really trying to make sure that we schedule strategically to keep you all safe. And if you're having trouble with that, please reach out. Another thing is, if you have to change that time, that's okay. Just make sure you delete the old time so that you're not holding it and that a different student could pop in there and grab it.
Right. A little while ago, Christy, you mentioned some packets that were mailed home. Do you mind talking about what was in that or what students can expect from that?
Yeah, so in your packet, there was a placard and most important, and some information about move-in. And most importantly, there was a blue card in there. So we're really wanting you to bring that blue card with you at move-in. This blue card is used for emergency purposes while you're living on campus with us. So if there was a health emergency, a building evacuation, anything like that, those blue cards help us know who's in the building. If there's any health risks that student has, we could let emergency personnel know. It also lets us know your emergency contacts. So if something were to happen while you were on campus, who do you want us to call to contact you? So please be really attentive to making sure that those phone numbers are legible, that if you need to share any medications you're on, or if you have diabetes, anything like that, please put that as a health condition and write really legibly so that we can use that in case there is ever an emergency.
Yes. Okay. So I just wanted to mention really briefly on the same drop off and move in dates, our office, Transition Programs, is doing the orientation welcome events. And so you can check our website, is uncw.edu/transition. You can click on freshman orientation and the dates, and you'll see there are date options and times and the location. So pretty much any day that housing is doing a drop off or a move in, our staff will be either in the Bernie Center or the Warwick Center with really just like a one-stop shop. So you can come before or after you do the move-in process or the drop-off process and swing through there and get your Students One card, parking permit if they've done that, drop-off help forms will help you waive insurance if you have questions, and also pick up your welcome bag. So your t-shirt for registered guests and students, a welcome bag full of stuff. And so I just want to make sure everyone knows to come and do that during those orientation welcome days. You're welcome to come on those days you're already on campus for the housing process.
Yeah.
So anything else you want to add for drop off or move in?
No, I mean, I'm just going to add that we understand it looks a little different. We're hoping that it actually be a little less stressful than a typical move in because it is spread out. But please just continue to pay attention to the social distancing guidelines. Ultimately, we know this is an exciting time, and we know that with that excitement, everybody wants to be here and see it. But we really just want your student to stay here and thrive and be healthy. So we've made those guidelines not to be strict just because, but really to make sure that when you leave your student off, you're leaving them in the best possible situation.
Yes, and that is our goal across campus. So
Yes.
for sure. So my next kind of question is, after move-in, what are some of the safety and guidelines that the students are going to need to follow inside the residence halls?
Yeah. So we've been talking with students during orientation about what a family unit is, and that's really guiding a lot of our policies within the residence hall. So similar to move-in or drop-off, we're asking that they wear their masks in the lobbies. Once they get to their suite, that is considered their home. And within that home, that's their family unit. So that's who they're living with, sharing a space with, sharing their bathroom with. So if we can ask our students to operate within that family unit, that's really what's guiding, if they're hanging out, playing video games, we're not expecting or asking them to wear a mask. If they are leaving the building together as a unit, maybe a roommate and a suite mate, they can operate the elevator together. But we're asking that they follow the same guidelines in terms of please don't ride the elevator with people who are outside of your suite because that's not your family unit. Please pay attention to directional signage while you're going up and down our stairways. We're also asking that you pay attention to your 6-foot distance. So you'll notice that in our lobbies, it may look like there's a little less furniture, or there may be some signs on our furniture saying, please don't sit here. Because what we're doing is trying to set it up strategically where, our students still have space to study and hang out and be outside of their bedroom, but we're also maintaining that 6-foot distance, which is true across campus. So you'll see when you get on campus that there's a lot of furniture that's been reorganized and a lot of directional signage. So that's our expectations within the residence halls.
So, thank you for sharing that. So we had another question about if their student is already signed up for a drop-off date, when they come back for their phase 3, for their move-in date, can they bring more items with them? Like if they forgot something or realize they need something else?
Yeah, of course. If you move in during the drop-off date and you start, making a little list of things you didn't think about, of course we would want you to be able to bring that back. The difference is you'll already have your key and you'll have already checked in. So it'll take a little less time for you to get back into your space. Just be attentive again to if you or if your student had to leave mid-semester for any reason, would they be able to get their belongings home? And that's really the question that we're asking everyone by packing lightly. We still want you to decorate and bring your curtains, and we want them to bring family photos to motivate them and keep them going. But just make sure that all of it could fit in their car or an individual who's coming to pick them up's car.
So you heard it from Krista. Everyone gift your student a family photo framed so they can put it up in
Yes.
the residence hall and look at it every day.
Yes.
So you heard it first here. So we have a few minutes. I wanted to see if we'll get a few more live questions. I know our staff are answering a lot of questions in the comments right now, trying to get to everyone that we can. Can you talk a little bit about the student staff and the professional staff that are going to be in the buildings with students?
Absolutely. Yep. So we have over, goodness, 130 staff within the residence halls. So we have resident assistants who are assigned to your student's hall or floor or pod, they may call it. And that resident assistant is an undergraduate student who is typically a sophomore, junior, or senior. And their responsibility really is to be a peer counselor. So we've talked a lot with the students during orientation about, their RA being their first point of contact. If they need referral to another office or they don't know who to talk to about something, our RAs are really equipped with that information to be able to say, oh, that's simple. You need to go to this office. They are also there to make sure that you are having fun. So they'll put on a lot of engagement opportunities in the hall. They'll do some educational programs as well, which will align with your students' class and curricular work. We also have graduate students who are in the residence halls. They oversee our area councils, which are similar to like an SGA, but it's specifically for the residence halls. And they also supervise our front desk. And then we have resident coordinators who are professional staff members at the university. They have a master's degree in college student development, and their role is to make sure that your student is thriving and that if they need support and the RA feels that they can't support your student in the way they need, they will refer up to the residence coordinator. So on move-in day or during the year, you may see a residence coordinator doing rounds and saying, hey, so just say hey back and let them know that you're there and if you need a resource. For families, if your student's struggling and they haven't seemed to reach out to anyone in the housing staff, please feel free to contact us at housing and we will figure out where your student's living and our housing staff will be right there. So we typically have a pretty quick turnaround when students reach out or families reach out about their students' concerns. We'll be making sure that we follow up to check in on them.
Yeah, we appreciate that. That's something we share as well as our office can sometimes jumpstart that. If someone reaches out and you have concerns about your student, reach out to any, department that your students are connected to, but housing is for sure a good one. Our department can also start that too. We talk all of the time. Our departments, we work very closely together to make sure our students are, thriving and doing the best that they can. And so we want to support them through that.
Sure, reach out to someone. We'll find the right people.
Yes, and I think, there might be students listening to this, but probably mostly families, is that, your student doesn't have to know that you reached out to us. We're not going to go tell them that, your mom called us at 2:45. We're going to reach out. The RAs are going to reach out. Seahawk Links can reach out to them and make sure, check in and see how things are going and seeing if they can connect them to some of those resources across campus.
Yeah, and motivate your student to reach out to us. We know I still call my mom and I'm 28 years old. So, if your student is having trouble, of course we want them to talk to you about it. You're their family. But my mom always said, well, have you talked to anybody about it? Right? Because she's my mom, but she doesn't work at the university. So encourage them to reach out to somebody. We don't want them sitting there unhappy or needing a resource or support and us not knowing. But once we know, we're going to have it and we're going to implement it for them. So encourage them to reach out to us when they're calling you.
Yes. Well, I have not received any more questions to answer live. I know they're working in the comments. Is there anything you want to leave our families with? Any piece of advice? Anything that you would want to share with families?
I'll just share that we're really excited. I know that, COVID-19 has been the talk since March and we're really, really working hard to make sure that we're minimizing the spread or the risk. And so we're excited about it. Your students still going to be engaged. They're still going to have programming opportunities. We have not limited the amount of resources or outreach that any of our programs, really, including Carrie's office, are offering. So that is all still here. Nothing has changed. So as you talk to your student, if you're anxious, if they're anxious, just rest assured that we're doing everything we can to not only get your student here safely, but keep them here. Our goal is to stay. Like, we want a full freshman year for your student. So just support us, and we're going to support your student. And we can't wait to see you on one of the 3 phases. We'll be there ready to have you move in and start the school year off. So from everyone in housing, I just want to say welcome. This is one of the best places to be. So we can't wait to see you.
Yes, and I would just echo Krista. We are so excited to kick off this academic year. We know there are some changes, but I think what she just mentioned, that their services are still available to your students across campus. And I think this is just forcing us even to be even more creative in how we get the resources to students. And so if you participate in orientation or not, you can see the Learning Center is going largely virtual, but that means your student has access to the Learning Center when they open up their laptop, or Student Rec Center is being flexible and figuring out how students can sign up for times to come work out. And so it's forcing us to be flexible, but we are determined to have the same level of service and resources to your students as any year prior to this.
Absolutely.
So I appreciate your time, Krista, and the staff that are managing the comments right now for us, for taking this time out of your day. You've given us some hours this week during orientation and next week, but I thank you for taking time today on a Friday to give us more time to answer these questions for our families.
Of course, I love doing it.
So the last thing I just want our families to know is that our next family chat will be August 4th, and we are going to be talking to professional staff in the Student Health Center. And so we've talked about a little bit about some of the safety requirements, policies in the residence halls that students are going to follow. But we really wanted to dive a little bit deeper into overall campus and what that's going to look like for students returning and coming back to campus or coming to campus for the first time in the fall. And so join us for our next family chat, August 4th. If you haven't already, like our Facebook page, and then you'll get a notification when we do a live video. And so you just click on that and get added to it. And then next, also, if you have not signed up for our family newsletter, that is the way that we communicate with families about anything going on. So we'll send an email when the next family chat is. We'll send a newsletter for August soon. So if you haven't done that already, go to our website, uncw.edu/transitions, click on the family tab, and you'll be able to sign up for that newsletter to start getting those monthly emails sent to your inbox to keep you connected to UNCW. I think that is all I have to say for today. Thank you again, Krista, for taking time. And everyone, I hope you have a fun and a safe weekend.